Welcome back to yet another movie in Adobe Photoshop CS3. In this movie, what I want to do is showcase black and white conversion in Photoshop CS3. There's some great new robust functionality inside of CS3, so let's check it out. Now, before we actually begin, let's modify our interface a little bit. Because this is going to be a visual edit, meaning I don't need numbers, I don't need all these details, it's really visual. I need to clean up my interface. One way I can do that is double click the title of one of these panels just to collapse those. I can also change this to this little icon view. But what I really like to do is what I did in the previous movie. Hit tab and then F7. So I'm just looking at my layers palette. And again, I'm going to expand these so I can just see the layers palette there. I can, of course, change the size of the layers palette, and it can go all the way to the left. I don't know why you'd want to do that necessarily. Maybe if you had two monitors and you wanted really big layers. But now, in this case, I have it over there on the right-hand side. I can also right or control click inside of the layers palette to change my thumbnail size. Now, this is going to be nice depending on what you're working on and how large you want that thumbnail. When you have a lot of layers, I love to go right click and choose small thumbnails or no thumbnails because ideally maybe I'm naming my layers and I know what's what. Alright, well now that we've cleaned up our interface, spacebar to reposition the image near the top part of the screen. Now, why is that important? Well, here's why. Typically, when you're working on a computer, you're looking down. Your head's kind of sagging. It's not very good for your posture. It's not very good for your creativity because strain on your neck and back does not equal creativity, but fluidity, flexibility, all that kind of stuff does. So I want to be looking up a little bit. So in this case, I'm looking up a little bit. Now from our adjustment layers, what we can do is click on our adjustment layer icon and choose black and white. Or I should say, from our many different adjustment layers, we can select what we're going to select is black and white. This is awesome. So once we launch this black and white dialog window, we want to move it over a little bit so we can actually see what's happening. A couple of things that I want to highlight here. One is there are a number of different presets. We can look at some infrared presets. That one doesn't look very good on this particular image. High contrast ones, red filters, yellow filters, etc., etc. I'm just going to go back to none. And what I'm going to do is do a custom black and white conversion. Now, one of the things I could do would be I could click into my blues and darken the sky. I could click into cyans and say, wow, okay, the sky has some blues and some cyans in it. Or I could actually click in the image and I can drag the sliders around simply by clicking to the left or the right. So let's say I want to have a little bit darker sky here, and I'm going into some different areas of the sky. Go down here, there's where some of the cyan is. You can see it pulled in the cyan there. I could even go further. A lot of times what you want to do when you're working on your images is swing them one way and then swing them back and then find the sweet spot in the middle. Next I can do the grass over here. Again, it's just a real nice visual way to modify this. I want this path, because this is a big part of the image, to be nice and bright. Even if I click off of it, you notice I'm dragging really far to the right. I'm still able to control the area that I clicked on. So the area that I'm controlling is the area that I first clicked on and the colors that are like it in the image. So that I'm able to brighten that up and then maybe darken the path down. As a side note, this image was captured in the Antelope Valley out in the desert, and it was absolutely, hands down, incredibly beautiful. The sun had just started to set and the hills were all just colorful, and it was amazing. Alright, well, let's click OK. So that's a pretty good black and white conversion. The next thing that I want to do, though, is I want to add a little bit more contrast and deepen some tones up top. So I'm going to create a curves adjustment layer. I'm just going to bring down some of these tones, do a little S-curve here. Click OK. Now the problem is I darken this area down here. Well, I can fix that by grabbing my gradient tool. So I'll press Tab. I can select the gradient tool by selecting or pressing the G key. Shift G key will scroll through these different tools here. Now with the gradient tool, what I can do, first I just want to click and drag, kind of see what's happening, but you're going to see that as I click and drag, black is concealing that. So right now I'm just limiting that to the top part of the image, and if I want it solely up there on the top, I can do something as well like this, where I have that up near the top a little bit more. I can also unlink the mask here, and I can move this up if I need to, so you can kind of see how I'm controlling that. Or I can stretch it out, Command T it, if I need to stretch it out and shift it around. And then of course I can also paint right on the mask. So maybe what I want to do is paint with a brush other than this brush, is go up to my brushes here. I'll just say Reset Brushes, go back to normal, and get a nice brush there, and right bracket key to have a nice big brush, and then I'm painting that here and there. Now, again, a couple of different ways we can do that with a gradient, hand painting. It's going to give us some different results based on what we're looking for. Now that we've done that, the image is in a pretty good place. The last thing that I want to look at here with this image is zooming in and out. I can zoom in and out with Command plus and minus. Yeah, that's a little awkward and it's kind of jumpy. If I hold down the Option Alt key and use my scroll wheel on my mouse, of course you have to have a scroll wheel, I can zoom in and out. I really like that just because it's so quick, so fluid, and I can really get to where I want to go with an image. Once I've completed working on an image, in this case converting this image to black and white, I'm going to hit Tab, F to go to full screen view mode. In this case, I'm going to go to that black background there because I want to look at the image. I want to clear off the clutter of the Photoshop interface, and that will help me focus in on the content that I'm working on. And again, I may want to see it in some different environments so it's not too contrasty. It depends what you want to do. If I want to bring back my palettes, whatever palettes I have open, I can just scroll over here to the right hand side, and there they are. They're back for me, which is really nice. Alright, well that wraps up our work on this image. I hope it's been a bit of help and you've learned something in this one. I'll catch you in the next one.